Dawn does not arrive here. It seeps in slowly, a thin gray light leaking through the warped wooden slats of the barracks, settling on the floor like cold dust. The air smells of damp wool, unwashed bodies, and fear that has been breathed too many times to still feel sharp. It lingers instead, heavy, exhausted. Greta Vogel is already awake. She has learned not to trust sleep. Sleep makes promises it cannot keep. Her body lies still on the narrow plank bed, but every muscle is alert, braced for the sound that will tear the morning open. The blanket scratches her skin. It is not hers. Nothing here ever is. Above her, a ceiling beam runs dark with age. A splinter hangs loose, stubbornly refusing to fall. Greta counts her breaths while staring at it. 36, 35. The counting keeps her anchored. Without it, her thoughts drift to places she cannot afford. Around her, the other women lie silent, eyes open in the half-light. No one speaks. Silence here is not peace, it is compliance. Even breathing feels supervised. Under her pillow, Greta's fingers curl around a small scrap of paper. It has been folded and unfolded so many times it feels like cloth. On it, written carefully in fading pencil, is her name. Greta Vogel. Just her name. No title, no number, no uniform stamp. She keeps it hidden like a crime. Outside, boots scrape against gravel. A man coughs. Metal clinks. The morning assembles itself through sound long before it shows its face. Greta's stomach tightens. Her hands feel strangely distant, as if they belong to someone else. She has learned that the body adjusts faster than the mind. The body understands ownership. The whistle comes suddenly, sharp, violent, final. It slices through the barracks, through thought, through breath. Every woman rises at once. Wood creaks. Blankets fall. The day has begun, and once again none of it belongs to them. The truck smells of oil, wet canvas, and bodies pressed too close for too long. Greta is lifted into it rather than climbing, hands at her elbows, firm but not rough, efficient in the way of people moving objects instead of women. She stumbles, catches herself, and ends up wedged between two strangers. Their shoulders touch. No one apologizes. The engine growls alive beneath them. As the truck lurches forward, the women sway together, an unsteady mass of borrowed balance. Knees knock. Someone's breath is sour with hunger. Someone else trembles so violently that Greta feels it through her coat. The canvas flaps snap shut, sealing them into half-darkness. "Where are we going?" A young voice whispers. The question floats briefly, then dies. Questions require hope, and hope has become dangerous. Greta presses her forehead against the wooden slats. The wood is rough, splintered, damp from morning frost. Through the narrow gaps she watches the land slide past. Fields stripped bare, fences leaning like tired men, trees standing skeletal against the pale sky. This land once fed them. Now it looks as starved as the people being carried across it. The truck hits a pothole. Bodies jolt. A sharp cry escapes someone before it can be swallowed. Greta's teeth click together. She tastes blood where she has bitten her lip. She remembers the posters. Bright colors, strong women, smiling faces promising purpose and honor. The state needs your time, they had said. Your sacrifice will be remembered. No poster had mentioned the smell of fear inside a moving truck. No poster had shown women packed together like cargo. Beside her, an older woman clutches a small handbag, opening and closing it as if checking that something important has not vanished. Inside, Greta glimpses nothing but air. The engine roars louder. The countryside thins. Smoke appears on the horizon. Greta's fingers find her diary in her coat pocket. She does not open it yet. Writing will come later, when the shaking slows. For now, she memorizes the road, just in case this is the last time she sees it. The truck slows. The change is felt before it is understood, the engine's growl dropping, the rhythm of movement shifting. Bodies sway forward as brakes bite. Dust rises through the canvas seams, dry and chalky, coating tongues and throats. "Stand!" a voice orders from outside. The flap is pulled back. Light floods in, too bright, too sudden. Greta blinks hard, eyes stinging. One by one they climb down, legs stiff, joints protesting. The ground beneath them is packed dirt, swept clean. Too clean. They stand in lines without being told. Habit has replaced instruction. The compound smells wrong. Not of rot or decay, but of soap, hot water, and something faintly sweet she cannot place. It unsettles Greta immediately. Her stomach tightens, as if her body recognizes danger before her mind does. Inside the building, steam hangs thick in the air. It beads on skin, dampens hair. Someone gasps softly. Undress. The word lands heavily, flattening thought. Hands fumble with buttons. Fabric slides down trembling arms. The sound of clothing hitting the floor is louder than it should be. No one looks at anyone else. The floorboards are suddenly fascinating, pale, scrubbed smooth, smelling faintly of lye. Greta's skin prickles as the air touches it. She crosses her arms instinctively, then forces them to her sides. Modesty is another thing that has learned obedience. Something is pressed into her palm. She looks down. Soap, thick, white, heavy, the surface smooth and unbroken, smelling faintly of flowers, real flowers, not the memory of them. For a heartbeat, she does not understand what she is holding. Soap like this does not exist anymore. Not at home, not anywhere she knows. Around her, women stare at their hands in disbelief. One lets out a sharp, broken laugh that turns immediately into sobbing. Water begins to run. Hot! Greta flinches as it touches her skin, then inhales sharply as warmth spreads. The soap lathers easily, abundantly. The smell fills her nose, her chest. Her eyes burn. This is not mercy, she thinks. This is something else, and she does not yet know what it will cost them. The first meal arrives without ceremony. Metal trays slide across a long wooden table, the scrape loud in the quiet room. Greta sits rigid, hands folded in her lap, watching steam rise from bowls as if it might be a trick of the light. The smell reaches her slowly. Broth, vegetables, something rich and unmistakably solid. Bread lies beside the bowl. Real bread, thick slices, crust dark and firm, the surface dusted lightly with flour. Greta's throat tightens. She cannot remember the last time bread looked like this. At home, bread had become thin, gray, careful. Bread that apologized for existing. Her hands tremble as she reaches for the spoon. Across from her, a woman named Lotta does not move at all. She stares at the tray as if it might explode. "If we eat," Lotta whispers, barely shaping the words, "they'll take something back." Greta lifts the spoon anyway. The soup is hot enough to sting her tongue. Flavor blooms, salt, fat, carrots soft from long cooking. Her stomach contracts painfully, shocked by abundance. Tears blur her vision, uninvited and unstoppable. She eats slowly, reverently, afraid of offending the food with haste. Around her, the room fills with small, private sounds, swallowing, quiet gasps. A muffled sob quickly smothered. No one speaks loudly. Gratitude feels dangerous here, like admitting weakness. Later, a guard walks past their table and pauses. He gestures to an empty cup. "More?" he asks, voice even, almost careful. Greta nods before she can stop herself. The cup is filled. That night she lies awake, belly heavy, mind restless. The warmth of the meal lingers like a foreign presence inside her. She opens her diary with shaking fingers and writes by memory. Careful to keep the pencil quiet. "We were told the enemy would starve us," she writes. "Instead they fed us. I don't know what to do with this feeling. It does not fit anywhere I was taught to put it." She closes the diary. Sleep does not come easily. Kindness, she is learning, can be far more unsettling than cruelty. Time begins to behave strangely inside the compound. Days arrive neatly, lined up like identical. Plates, wake, work, eat, sleep. Nothing dramatic happens. And that is what frightens Greta most. Her mind keeps waiting for the blow that never comes. The guards speak when necessary. Some avoid eye contact. One corrects another's tone, quietly, as if embarrassed by cruelty. This restraint unsettles her. It leaves too much room for thought. At night, whispers move through the bunks like cautious animals. "If they were monsters," Lotta murmurs in the dark, "this would be easier." Greta says nothing, but the words settle deep. Monsters require resistance. Humans demand reckoning. Letters begin to arrive. Thin paper, familiar handwriting. News from home arrives like ash carried on the wind. Bombed streets. Ration cards reduced again, a father missing. A sister buried beneath rubble that used to be a house. Greta reads her letter twice, then folds it carefully. As if politeness might soften its cruelty, shame creeps in quietly, wrapping itself around her ribs. She is fed. She is warm. She is alive in a place she was taught to fear. That night she dreams of soap. Not the act of washing, but the object itself. White, intact, untouched. In the dream it cracks in her hands, splitting cleanly in two. She wakes with her heart racing. In her diary, she writes in short, uneven lines. "They taught us to prepare for brutality. They did not prepare us for dignity. What happens when the enemy refuses to behave as promised? The propaganda that once filled her head does not shatter. It erodes, slowly, silently, worn down by routine, by full stomachs, by ordinary voices. Greta begins to fear what will be left when it is gone. Because if the lies dissolve, something else must take their place, and she does not yet know who she is without them. Outside, the compound rests under a calm sky. Inside, the war moves inward, quiet, relentless, and far more difficult to survive. The announcement comes on an ordinary morning. No drum roll, no warning, just a name read from a list, then another, then another. Greta's heart beats faster with each one, as if it already knows what is coming before her mind allows it. Transfer, the guard says. Preparation begins today. The word hangs in the air, heavy and unclear. Transfer where? Back? Forward? Home has become a dangerous word, too ruined to imagine, too distant to trust. The barracks fill with careful movement. Women fold blankets they do not own. They gather belongings small enough to fit in their hands, letters, buttons, scraps of identity that survived captivity. Greta packs her diary last. She hesitates before placing it in her bag, fingers resting on the worn cover. These pages have held the truth she was not allowed to speak. Closing it feels like sealing part of herself away. As they line up outside, Greta's gaze drifts to the gate. It stands open. She realizes with a quiet shock that she is not afraid of it anymore. The fence, the wire, the rules, they no longer define her. Something has shifted inside, subtle but permanent. She has seen too much to return unchanged. The truck waits, engine idling. As she climbs aboard, Greta reaches out and brushes her fingers against the cold metal of the gate. The touch is brief, almost accidental, but it grounds her. Later, much later, she will write one final entry. They took our time first, then our bodies. What they did not expect was that truth would survive in small, ordinary moments, warm water, full bowls, human voices. I am leaving this place, but it is not leaving me. The truck pulls away. The compound shrinks in the distance. Dawn rises again, pale and uncertain. For the first time, Greta does not feel owned by it. She simply watches the light.